on our paraspinal muscles. So I'm going to give you guys a little picture today if you want to come up and see. So these are your paraspinal muscles, and they are little tiny little slips that attach to each of the vertebra. Can you guys see that? And then they kind of combine to make, it looks like a big muscle then. Okay, but there's still these little individual pieces that attach onto our spine, our vertebra, our rib cage. There's one more picture here. You can see these are a little bit of the bigger ones. But they run up and down the spine kind of like a little bit of a ladder. And they can get very easily, let's say, tight. So if we're overdoing something, so I know we have golfers here, like, you know, that turning that you do sometimes, or if you lift something or you twist the wrong way, it's often those paraspinal muscles that go into spasm, because what they're trying to do is protect your spine. So if we overdo something, they're going to seize up and tighten up to try and keep your spine safe, so that you don't blow out a disc or do something that would take longer to repair. So we get those spasms. So those are a good thing when you get the spasms. I know they're not always fun in the moment, but they're there to protect you. So that's what these little spinal muscles do. We're going to mostly focus on the lower ones. So the lower ones down by your sacrum tend to kind of get tighter, shorter, compressed because of, you know, all the weight and everything like that, or the way we sit. So we're going to kind of work on teasing out length in the lower back. This is really good if you have excessive lumbar curve or lumbar compression or tightness in your lower back as well. So we are going to start with some somatic work. You could put a blanket down on your mat if you don't have one. We will also need a strap. And you're going to need your set of blocks and maybe an extra blanket for a pillow. And then I will meet you guys on your back as soon as you get all that set up. All right. So you can come down when you're ready. And initially, just taking our time to settle in, find your breath. And you can either have your legs out straight or your feet flat if you feel like you need a little bit more support for your lower back, keep the feet flat. And then we're going to bring lots of awareness to this spinal column, what we call in yoga the central channel. And we're going to bring our breath and our awareness into this central channel that houses our spine, our spinal column, spinal cord, and the nervous system that branches out from the center out into our bodies. So as you inhale, imagine the breath brushing down your spine to the pelvic floor. And as you exhale, back out from the pelvic floor all the way back out through your nose. And let your spine start to melt into the ground. So you can be on your back if you're not on your back. Let your spine melt into the ground. Soften all of those little ladder-like muscles that go from all the way down at the sacrum, all the way up to the back of your skull. Now just go ahead, continue to breathe a little bit longer. This central channel in the yoga tradition is also associated with spirit, with meditation. And when we meditate on the central channel, it's like we're letting our awareness get finer and finer and finer till we're just observing that thread of the spinal cord. Sometimes said that this is the place where spirit dwells, where the Buddha dwells, according to my teacher. And this central channel is known as the Madhya Nadi. The nadi means a channel. Madhya Nadi is like a ray of light within us. So kind of meditating on that concept, that idea of this central channel is a place for spirit dwells, this ray of light within us, from the cranium all the way down to our pelvis and our sacrum. The yogis talk about channels that run through our body. And on the right side, it is associated with the sun and more what we call the masculine energy, not gender, but it's masculine, it's heating, it's more outer focus, achievement oriented. And then on the left side is associated with the moon and the feminine aspect, more introspective, more internal, so associated more with darkness versus light. And then we have this central channel in between, the Madhya Nadi, that is neither masculine nor feminine, right or left, sun nor moon, light nor dark. It's this place of neutrality that we can meditate upon. So let's take just 3 more breaths, feeling and sensing this central channel. And then we're going to begin to move in a moment. Now, after your 3rd breath, let's go ahead and take a full body stretch. So reach out through arms and legs. And let's do the one I call the up, slip, down, slip. So we're going to reach through the right arm, right leg, and then left arm, left leg. And as you reach, can you get a sense of that you're lifting out of your lower back, that you're lifting your rib cage away from your pelvis. So go really slow. And as you inhale, reach, 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 reach as far as you can through the one arm and leg, and then let it go. And then other side, inhale, reach, reach, reach. Keep reaching as long as you can before you release. Let's do one more time on each side. Just feel how this teases out length in those spinal muscles. All right, I'm gonna go ahead, let the arms come down, bring the feet flat. And then from here, cross your right leg over your left leg, no space between your legs. Just cross out your inner thighs, take your arms out to a T, and we're gonna windshield wiper the legs from right to left. You can let your head go opposite of your legs. And just noticing little sensations here, particularly in that lower back region. So with right leg on top, as we go to the right, we're getting a little bit more of that lower back lengthening. I might even linger there for a moment and just kind of stay on that right side. And breathe into the left side of your lower back. We also get here into the hip and the IT band. The relationship there. And then bring those legs back up. Now we're going to take our hands behind the back of the head. Interlace your hands. Drop the knees over to the right, legs are still crossed. Now slide the upper body to the left without lifting anything up. So we create a little bit of a side bend, and then we come back up to the start. And then repeat, drop your knees to the right, side bend towards your left. Maybe you look at your right elbow and come back. And 2 more rounds like that. Everything stays on the ground, nothing lifts up. The upper body is just sliding. We're teasing at that length in the lower left paraspinal muscles. One more time. And back to the center. Okay, uncross your legs, let your arms relax for a moment. And now just kind of feel that left side that we just worked on. And now let's cross the right leg over top. And first, just the windshield wiper. So no side bend, your arms could relax and go side to side. I'm sorry, left leg on top if you haven't. And then notice as you drop the legs to the left, there's a little bit more stretch in that right side. You might even observe, is one side, tighter for you than the other? So I definitely feel like my left side has more tightness than my right side. Now the next time you drop your legs to the left, hold it there for a few cycles of breath. You send your breath into any of that tightness, any of that restriction. And then we'll bring those legs back up, interlace the hands behind the back of the head, and now we're going to add the side bend. So legs drop to the left. Slide your upper body as if your elbow is going to touch your foot, and then back to the start. And then we'll do that a few more rounds. One more time after this. All right, and then we're back to the start. You can uncross your legs, and let's take a full body stretch again. And then place your feet flat on the floor, hands behind the back of the head once again. So we're going to do just a little bit of core work. The core work is really important for our paraspinals because if we have a weak core, or if we carry a little extra weight in our belly, it's going to definitely pull on our paraspinal muscles. So we're going to inhale, arch the spine, and exhale, right elbow and left knee come together. A good squeeze, and then inhale, come back to center, arch your back, and then left elbow to right knee. And we're going to continue a few more cycles. Arch when you come down and flatten as you come up. Keep going, a few more cycles. And when we go on this diagonal pattern, we're also kind of pulling and lengthening those lower spinal muscles. Last round. All right, come back to the start. We're going to roll to the side and go ahead, come on up into a seated posture from here. All right. So feel free to sit up on something if you got a pillow or a folded blanket there. And then we're gonna widen out our sit bones so we can really feel that central channel as being connected to the ground and connected to the sky. And then we'll interlace our palms, press the palms up. Good. Now press your sit bones down, and we're gonna really feel like we're trying to tease out those lower back muscles. Make a little baby movement side to side. So kind of just like you're trying to climb up a ladder or rope, just a little bit of side to side movement. And each time just get a little taller. We're focusing on lifting the rib cage off of the pelvis today to create that space in the lower back. Good, now keep the arms pressing up as tall as you can. Right arm comes down, walk it out into a side bend. Okay, pause here, and we're going to press down into our right palm and press your right palm toward the right until you feel like your left sit bone drops a bit. When that left sit bone drops, feel that as an anchor point, and then we can reach through that top arm and just be aware of those lower spinal muscles. Feel like you're pulling your rib cage away from your sit bone to create more length there in that lower spine. Keep pushing down and forward with your right palm to ground the sit bone and reach. Feel like you're moving your rib cage. Good, and now slowly release, come back up to the start. Take a breath here. And now let's do that on the other side. Interlace your palms, press up, and just tease out that length. See if you can get out of your lower back, lift your rib cage up, up, up. Sit bones and pelvic floor draw down. And then left palm comes down. Let's walk that palm down any amount. And then push down and a little forward with that hand. And then anchor into your right sit bone, reach through that top arm. And as you reach through the top arm, the arm fascia is attached to our rib cage and our shoulder. So if you reach through the arm and shoulder more, the rib cage will start to come with you, and we create that more, create that space in the lower back. One more breath. And very carefully and slowly come up. So listen to your body today. Some of these stretches are pretty deep, and we don't want to aggravate or pull those little spinal muscles. So go to your capacity today. We're going to come into bound angle position, soles of the feet together. Sit up tall, lengthen up through the spine. And then we're going to bring the left foot flat, keep the right knee in bound angle. Now we're going to walk ourselves over toward that right knee and walk out as far as you can. See if you can slide your left arm over toward the side. You keep the left foot and left knee planted. Don't let that left knee drop in. Then breathe into that lower back region. Right forearm might come to the ground. And slowly return, come back up. Bound angle position, and then we're going to bring the right foot flat, right knee up, and then walk it out over to your left knee. And you go as far as it feels right for you. Maybe you're going to put that left forearm on the ground and really try to reach through your right arm. Breathe into that lower back region each time. All right, slowly walk it back in. Come back to our bound angle position. Sit up tall. Draw your sit bones down and try to float the crown of the head up and feel that central channel from pelvic floor to crown of head. All right, draw your knees together. We're going to come into tabletop position for our cat-cows. You can have the blanket down for just a little bit yet. Now, when we do cat-cows today, we're going to take the awareness to that lower back region. We're going to focus on the exhale phase. So we take an inhale, and then exhale, round your spine. And as you round your spine, really kind of pull the tailbone forward toward the head. Push through your palms and feel a length and a stretch in your lower back. And then opposite, you're going to arch your back. So when you arch, you're kind of shortening and tightening those lower back muscles. And as you exhale, you're lengthening the lower back muscles. So go ahead, let's do 3 more cycles. Focus on your exhale phase. Focus on pulling that tailbone down and a little forward. And as you inhale, try not to overdo the tightening of your lower back. See if you can bring more of the movement into your upper spine, where we tend to be stiffer. We tend to have more mobility in that lower back, which is why it often gets thrown out of alignment. After your third cycle, go ahead, take child's pose. And child's pose is also a nice lengthener for the lower back. So we're gonna try and make this child's pose really long. If it feels okay for you, slide your palms forward. You might look up a little bit. And then like that little micro side to side movement, reach through one arm and then the other. Your hips might sway a little bit. Tease out some length and then let your head come down. All right. Let's go ahead and come back up into tabletop pose. If you have a blanket down, you can take that off now. Keep something nearby for padding because we're going to do a little bit of lunge work. And then let's come up to down dog for a moment when you're ready. And then once you're there, you could pedal out your feet a little bit, then one knee, then the other. Shake your head out. And then keeping a little bend in your knees, walk your hands back to your feet. Fold over your legs. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, we're going to reach all the way up. And exhale, release. Okay. So let's try just a few half sun salutations to warm up a little bit more, and then we're going to keep working on kind of a lot of side bends in our practice today. So feet about hips distance apart. Inhale, reach up, and as you reach, can you try to touch the ceiling and lift your ribcage off your pelvis, and then exhale, fold forward. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, reach up, really lengthen. The feet reach down, the arms reach up, and then release, hands to heart. 2 more cycles. Every time you reach those arms up, lift your ribcage off your pelvis. Exhale, fold. Create a lot more space in the spine. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to your heart. 1 more cycle. Inhale, reach. Lift that ribcage. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale. Inhale, reach up. And hands to heart. All right, we're gonna widen the feet a little bit, like maybe outer hips distance. And then we're gonna take the palms up and interlace like we did when we were seated. Okay, really root your legs down. Press your feet into the ground, feel your legs charge. And then pull your tailbone down so you feel the backs of your legs engage. And now we're gonna reach up as tall as we can. Lift that ribcage right off of the pelvis and take that little bit of side to side movement. That little teasing out of the lower back. Can you lift your ribcage off of your lower back? And now reach up through center and side bend to your left. Keep rooting your legs down. Now on that right side, can you feel like you're lifting your ribcage off of your pelvis? And then maybe a little bit more side bend. Good. Inhale, come up. Exhale to the other side. Charge your legs, pull your tailbone down. And then feel like you're lifting your left rib cage up and off your pelvis and then side bend. Good. Inhale, come up. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Right. Okay, make sure your blocks are at the top of your mat. We're going to use those for our lunge work. And you can have the blanket nearby if you need something under your knees when you come down for a lunge, okay? All right. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold hands to blocks. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and we're going to step the left foot to the back of the mat. Move your blocks back, and then drop down onto that left knee. Pat it if you wish. And then once you feel stable, we're going to come up onto the front thigh. Okay. So with all of these side bends that we're doing today to kind of tease out that length in the lower back, we need anchor points. So if we're not stable in the lower body, we're not going to be able to really lift up with the rib cage. So we got to root the feet down, hug the hips in, get that stability. And then we're going to inhale the arms up. We're going to do a lot of this interlacing today. Press the palms up. And then really root into the ground and try to tease that rib cage up and off of your pelvis with that small side to side movement. And then hold it up. And we're going to side bend over to the right side, any amount. Keep the feet rooting. Keep the inner thighs hugging in, and then lift that left rib cage off the pelvis. And inhale, come up. Exhale, hands to your blocks. Okay, we're going to shift the back knee back a few inches. Move your blocks back, and we're going to try and straighten the front leg, coming into a half Hanuman, half split posture. Push in your palms, rotate your elbow creases a little forward. And now pause here for an extra breath. All right, so now, remember we're gonna root down, hug in, and then we're gonna take our blocks to the outside of the right leg. Okay, we're gonna come into a little bit of a side bend here in the forward fold. Now, blocks up high might be good for you today. If you want to go farther, you can start to lower those blocks or even bring your hands to the floor. Keep your hips squeezing in, and then maybe reach through that left arm a little bit more into a little bit of a twist side bend, and breathe into that left side. All right, slowly starting to come back to the center. Bring your blocks back around, framing your front foot and leg. And then we're going to bend into that front knee again. Lift the back knee and spin the back heel down. We're going to come into warrior one. So we're going to rise up, reach your arms up. Okay, just bring hands to hips for a moment so that you can adjust your feet, your stance, make sure you feel really stable. Make any adjustments that you need. Re-bend into that front knee when you're ready. Keep your back heel as your anchor point, really grounded. Squeeze your back thigh. And then we're going to take those arms up and interlace the palms. Press the palms up. Tease out that length, lift your rib cage up, up, up. And then side bend over to that right side again. If that's unstable, stay center. And see if you can think about lifting the rib cage off the pelvis. This also stretches the psoas muscle a bit here. When we do these side bends, we're stretching the paraspinal muscles in the back. Psoas, hip flexor in the front. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands down to your blocks. Put them up high if they're low and step forward. Fold over your legs. Inhale, let's reach all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Very good. All right, you might feel a little lopsided now. That left side got a good stretch. Let's do the other side. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, hands to blocks. And this time, right foot steps back. Move your blocks back and drop down onto that back knee. Okay, when you're ready, hands on your front thigh. Okay, so making sure that we're doing the rooting down, the hugging in, and then we'll take those arms and reach them up. Interlace your palms, press the palms up, and lift your rib cage out of your lower back. Little bit of side to side movement, really small. Try to tease out that length. Good, and then press up. Keep rooting down, hugging in, and then side bend over towards your left. Lifting the rib cage off the pelvis. Breathing into the right side. Good, inhale, come up. Exhale, hands to blocks. And we're gonna shift the back knee back a little bit, move your blocks back and straighten your front leg. And then we'll take an extra breath or two here. We're rooting down, we're hugging in. Oftentimes one side or the other of those lower spinal muscles are tighter than the other. So we're trying to create a little more symmetry, a little more balance. Let's take the blocks over to the outside of your left leg. And then you can decide, do you want to lower those blocks? Do you want to put your hands on the floor? And you're coming into a bit of a twist. We're still hugging those inner thighs. And then we're breathing here into this right side, lower paraspinal muscles. All right, let's go ahead and walk those blocks back around, framing your front foot. Rebend into your front knee. You might put those blocks up on high. We're gonna lift the back knee, spin that heel down, and we're gonna come on up into our warrior one position. Just put hands on hips so you can adjust your feet, get yourself nice and stable. Because we're not gonna be able to side bend if our foundation is wobbly, okay? So find your feet, especially your back heel, squeeze your back thigh, and then interlace your palms up and overhead. Lift your rib cage off your pelvis and find that little bitty side to side movement. How tall can you get here? And then reach up high and then side bend. Over to the front leg. Keep that back heel grounded. Lift the rib cage off the pelvis. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, hands down. Move your blocks forward, step forward, and fold over your legs. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, we're gonna stand in the middle of your mat and keep your blocks nearby. You might wanna put those, we're gonna do triangle, but we're also gonna do a forward fold. So if you like blocks for triangle, put them back behind you. Some of us just put hand on the shin. And then if not, you can leave them in front of you. Stack your feet apart wide. Start with hands on hips, root your legs down, tailbone down, lift your chest. And then we're gonna take right leg out, left toes in, coming into our warrior two. So bend the right knee, turn your chest toward the long side of your mat, and then let's interlace the palms up. Press them up. Good, press down into your feet, engage the legs, get an anchor point, and then lift up through your rib cage. And we're gonna do a little bit of side bend toward the front leg. And then inhale up, lift that rib cage, side bend toward the back leg. Going only as far as it feels right for you. Inhale up, exhale toward the front leg, press into the foot. Inhale up and toward the back leg. Good. Inhale up through center. We're going to straighten the front leg, keep the arms up. Preparing for triangle, square your chest toward the long edge of your mat. Press down into your feet and lift that rib cage up, up, up. Good. From here, release your hands. We're coming into triangle. So bottom hand either on the block or the shin. We're putting top hand on the hip initially. Okay, so really kind of push down into your bottom hand, and that'll help you kind of lift out of your hip. And then top hand is going to go on your top hip. And we're going to let that top hip with your hand roll it forward as if you're going to look down toward the ground. Roll the hip forward. This creates a little more space in our lower back. Now, hand to the rib cage. Keep the hip rolling forward, but roll your rib cage up toward the ceiling. Get a little bit of a twist through the spine. Anchor into those legs and take the top arm, reach it up. Good. Push in your bottom hand, reach up through your top hand. Next phase, take your top arm over your ear. And now, back foot, anchor it, press into the heel. Now reach, 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 reach with that top arm. Feel like you're moving your rib cage away from your hip. Good, and then top hand to top hip. Bend your knee and come back up. Arms to warrior two. Straighten your leg, parallel your feet. Take a little step in for a moment, shake it out. Okay, let's try that on the other side. Nice work. Step out, warrior two. Turn the left toes out, right toes in. Bend that knee, and then square your chest toward the long side of your mat. Palms come up. The more we press down into the ground, it helps us rise up. Lift that rib cage, create as much length as you can. And then we're going to straighten that front leg. Try not to lock the knee. Press into the big toe mound. Inhale, reach up. Oh, I forgot the side to side movement. Let's rebend, warrior two, sorry. Keep staying here and then side bend toward the back. And side bend toward the front. Keep lifting that rib cage up. Let's do that one more time in each direction. Feel those lower spinal muscles as you take those side bends, lift up. Last time to the front. Good. All right, now we'll set up our triangle. Lengthen up through that center again, straighten the leg, press through the big toe mound. And we start to side bend toward the front leg. Eventually just release your arms. Top hand on the hip. Bottom hand, see if you can, I like to get a hold of my ankle if I'm not using a block. And then I push down. When I push down, it helps me lift up a bit. Okay, back hand to the hip. Roll the hip forward. Your chest is going to a little bit toward the floor there. And then hand to the rib cage, keep the hip forward, roll the rib cage back. And this keeps our lower back a little more open here. Top arm up. Inhale, try to touch the ceiling, push in your bottom hand. And then next phase, turn your palm toward your head and reach it over your ear. If anything's too much, just back out. And now as we really anchor into the back leg, we can reach through that top arm, create length through that whole top side body. One more breath. And then top hand to the hip, rebend the knee, warrior two. Nice. Straighten that leg, parallel your feet, step it back in, shake it out a little bit. Okay, one more thing here, step the feet apart wide once again. Make sure you have a block in front of you if it's hard for you to reach the floor when you fold. If you can easily reach the floor, you won't need it, okay? Charge those legs, lengthen up through your spine. Now we're gonna bend the knees a little bit, hinge at your hips and fold forward. Blocks if you need them. I'm gonna set mine to the side because it's a little bit too much. I'm gonna just put hands on the floor for myself, but you're gonna use blocks if you need them. And then pause here, press your feet into the ground, feel like your inner legs are growing longer. Those inner leg muscles are actually attached, by the way, the fascia through our spinal muscles. We're gonna take the right hand dead center and take the left hand onto the hip, preparing for a twist. First, inhale, lengthen your spine, and now start to press into the bottom hand, turn your chest to the left. Push to that right hand, and then imagine you could rotate your rib cage right along that central channel, around the spinal column. And then maybe that top arm reaches up. Keep the legs as your anchor, pushing your feet, and see if you could turn your rib cage. Try not to throw your arm back so much as turn your rib cage. Good. Now, bend your right knee, bend it a lot, and then push into it, re-extend, and twist again. Good. Release the top hand down. Pause. Okay, other side, left palm center, right hand to the hip. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, turn. Anchor into your legs. Push into your bottom hand. And rotate your spine around, your rib cage around your spine. Maybe that arm can come up. Pushing the bottom hand, reach to the top hand. Now we're gonna bend the left knee, bend it a lot, and then push into the foot and turn again into the twist. Good, release, back to the center. Hands under the shoulders initially, turn your toes in a tiny bit, heels out. Bend your knees and walk your arms forward like down dog. Pull your hips back away from your palms, let your head come between your arms. Maybe straighten those legs. Last breath. And then walk your hands back in under your shoulders. Heel toe your feet in a little closer. And we're gonna bend the knees and come down to stand on our knees. And you might want padding underneath your knees, okay? We're gonna do gate pose. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a quick little sip. You might want blocks for this, you might not. All right, that's better. Okay, so I'm gonna bring hands down to the ground and step your right leg out to the side. And then we're gonna come up again onto the knees, okay? Staying here, that right foot, some people like it flat, some people like the toes up, totally your choice. But we're gonna anchor down with the tailbone and then interlace the palms and press up. Inhale, get as long as you can through the center. And then exhale, right hand down, left arm up. Here's where you could use a block or you can put your hand on your leg. Just don't jam down with that bottom hand. Inhale, reach the top arm higher. Lift your rib cage off your pelvis and then maybe side bend a little more. Breathe into that left side. Good, now from here, we're gonna start to turn the chest toward the floor and see if we can bring both of those hands down to the floor or the blocks. And then we get a, well, at least I do, bigger stretch onto that left lower back area. Okay, walk your hands back to the center. Step that foot back in Feel free to take a brief child's pose if you like. And let's all go there for about 2 or 3 breaths, and we'll do the gate pose on the other side. Okay, hands out in front of you. Step the left foot to the left, and then we're gonna come up, standing up on the knee. Anchor down, pull the tailbone down, and then let's inhale, reach the arms up. Inhale, get as tall as you can. Tease out that length. Good, and then left hand comes down. Right arm reaches up, lift that rib cage, and then side bend. And as you stay on the side bend, keep pulling your tailbone down. Keep feeling like you're lifting your rib cage off your pelvis. One more breath here. Good. Now from here, we're going to start to turn toward the floor and bring both hands down either to the blocks or the floor and walk them over toward the left. And breathe here. All right, walk back to the center, step that foot back in, and we're gonna come into a seated position from here. Okay, so again, you might wanna grab something to sit on. We're gonna have the strap nearby. Some of you might need it, some of you might not. Okay, we're gonna take right leg out to the side. And left foot in toward the inner thigh. So it's almost like the wide leg position, but one leg's folded in, okay? If this is too much for you, try adding some props. You could put something under your knee, if that's helpful. And if you can't do that, bending of the knee, just go to the wide leg position, that's fine. Okay, let's inhale the arms up. Anchor down through your sit bones, lift up, tease that rib cage off the back of the pelvis. And we're gonna twist toward the bent leg, toward the left side. Right hand to left knee, inhale, sit up as tall as you can, and turn. Okay, from here, take the right hand back to the right leg. Okay, start to slide that hand down. Even as you keep turning toward the left, slide that hand down. If you can hold your ankle or your foot, you're good without the strap. If you feel like you need the strap, grab the strap. Okay, top hand on the top rib cage. Turn the left ribs more to the left. Good, and staying there, extend through the right inner leg. That right inner leg is attached to the left paraspinal muscles. It's like a crisscross. If you want to go further, take the left arm up. Try to touch the ceiling, lift that rib cage as you anchor down. And then the next phase, we're gonna reach over the ear. So if that's too much, keep the arms straight up. And then feel like you're pulling your rib cage away from your pelvis with your arm. So the arm is helping to move the rib cage. One more breath, don't go too far. And then we're gonna bring top hand to the hip, tone the belly, push down with your left hand and carefully come back to the center. Very good. Okay, let's switch out. So left leg extends, right leg is bending in. Add any props that you might need to be comfortable. And then let's inhale, reach the arms up, interlace your palms, root your sit bones down, tease out of that lower back. And then we twist to the right, left hand, right knee. Good, inhale, sit up tall. Exhale and turn. And keep lifting out of your lower back. Now keeping your chest turning to the right, bring your left palm back to your left leg. Start to slide it down, holding onto your ankle or your foot or using your strap. Top hand on the rib cage. Take that hand and start to rotate your rib cage toward the right. Look toward your right. Extend through the left inner leg. And then from here, option to reach the arm up. Try to touch the ceiling, lift that rib cage off the pelvis, and then the next phase is the side bend. So just listening to your body. If it's too much, stay with the vertical. And then move your rib cage with your arm into a deeper side bend. Breathing here, that opposite sit bone, that right sit bone is anchoring down. And then hand to hip, tone the belly, push that hand down so we don't use those back muscles. We come all the way back to center. Good, and then let's bring those legs back in and out straight in front of us. If your hamstrings are on the tighter side, you're going to bend your knees. You might even put a rolled blanket under your knees. If you know you're pretty flexible, you can keep your legs straight. Don't force it. I don't want you rounding your lower back here. We're going to pull those sit bones back and apart, and that helps us keep length in our lower back as we do a forward fold. Okay, so you want to feel like your sit bones are kind of slightly behind you. And then we'll interlace our palms one last time. Lift up, lift that rib cage, create as much length as you can, tease it out a little bit. And then let's all just bend those knees a little bit away from the ground. Inhale, taller, one more breath. Exhale, start to hinge forward and eventually hands come down, ankles, shins, or feet. Strap if you need it. As you inhale, we're going to sit up even taller and tip the sit bones back. And as you exhale, now folding forward, you can let those legs come down if it feels okay. Now pause here and feel like you're trying to pull your rib cage forward, creating more length in those lower spinal muscles. Let your chin come slightly in. Send your breath into your lower back body. Now we're going to get ready to come out by toning the belly. Come up part way. And then use your hands, walk your hands up your legs. We're not yanking on those back muscles. And then pause when you get to the top. Close your eyes for a moment. Sweep your breath up and down your spine, finding that awareness of that central channel. All right, let's go ahead, come on your backs. You made it, that was a hard practice today. Let's take a full body stretch. And then hug your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit side to side. You can take this into happy baby if you want to go into a happy baby. And you'll find Shavasana when you are ready. We're going to take a few minutes in Shavasana and then we're going to do a brief seated practice today. So take your time. Make sure you feel like you're just getting a nice neutral spine. So you might support your knees or your head if that helps you feel the spine on the ground. And then initially here, as we get settled, imagine brushing the breath along your spine again. So inhale all the way down to your pelvic floor. Exhale back up and out. Imagine just clearing this central channel. We become a clear channel when we kind of work on this lengthening of our spine. A lot of times things are compressed or out of alignment. Create that length. Gives us this more clarity through the central channel. This place where spirit resides. And we can meditate upon this central channel. So our awareness gets finer and finer. So the yogis refer to something called nirvichara samadhi, is when we can transcend the realm of thought altogether, and then spiritual illumination is the result. So see if you can find that subtle awareness of the central channel. Staying out of the thinking mind. Instead, let there be a focus on sensation, what you're feeling, perhaps your breath, without the labels. Right? So we talked about the right, the left, the sun, the moon, the masculine, feminine, this central channel without those labels. It's this place of clarity and pure beingness. So as you continue to rest, I'm going to share a couple readings. This untouchable center is akin to the center of a storm, where all is calm and tranquil despite the whirlwinds that surround it. That center is the haven within which you truly dwell. The vantage point from that center is the one which ultimately you will carry with you as you walk within the world and begin to take on the perspective of a witness. And gradually you detach from your fixation on the details of your drama and begin to experience yourself floating above the surface of even the most turbulent circumstances, knowing yourself to be unaffected. The truth of who you are is there within you right now. It's not something you can hope to obtain by listening outward, by suffering or sacrifice. It's not a state you can buy. But it's through a path one blazes through the uncharted jungles of our own consciousness that oneness is experienced and known and never forgotten. In the central channel, we find that place of oneness. All right, so we're going to start to come back to awareness now. Let's take a couple slower breaths, a little deeper. Invite some small movements back into your body. Try not to hurry. And eventually making those movements a little bigger before coming over onto your side. Make sure you have that pause on your side before you come up. And then we'll return to a seated posture. So we'll find a meditation posture. So it might mean sitting up on your cushion, widen and get those sit bones apart so you feel like that central channel is really directly straight up and down, from the pelvic floor to the crown of the head. So establish that clear channel. And then you might close your eyes or find a soft focal point. Breathing into your belly. Let the crown of the head float upward like there's a helium balloon at the base of your skull. So you get lighter and lighter. Lift up out of that lower back. And as that spine, that central channel is strong and tall, let the outer body soften over the length of the spine. Almost like you have a wash line you're propping up so that the spine is like the prop and the body's like the clothing. It's draping and relaxing. Brush your breath along the central channel. And reside in a place where spirit dwells. So we can be this clear channel of receptivity. When our mind is caught up in all the labels and the judgments and the rights and the wrongs, it's really hard to listen to that inner voice. So I'm going to share one more little piece of the reading before we close as you continue to breathe. One learns to follow one's own inner guidance in preference to that being offered in the guise of wisdom by many who have tapped into other sources of information. For the very sense of separation you seek to transcend is reinforced when you offer your power to another being. The information that may be provided for you from such sources can only be validated by your own inner knowingness. And the opportunity for you is to recognize that you have within you a remarkable, accurate barometer of what is and is not valid guidance and information. To act upon guidance offered by another being, regardless of how gifted they may be, is to make a statement vibrationally that valid information is unavailable to you directly. And therefore, so it is. You have not come to this experience you call your life in order to have another being make your key choices for you. Ultimately, the choices you put into action must be your own choices if they are to yield the level of results you wish them to. It's all from the book called Oneness by Rasha. So when we get clear in this channel, when we tune within to that own spirit, wisdom, higher self within, we can validate those things that we hear that are coming from the outside, whether or not they're truthful for us. All right, let's bring hands together in front of the heart space. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, bowing your head to your heart. Thank you so much, everyone. Namaste.